Jarra from Men in Black 2 is a real piece of work, basically a skinny intergalactic criminal who clutches at big ideas and high-tech gear while riding around on his own mini flying saucer. Although he's not on screen for too long, he makes a lasting impression, pulling back his oversized black cloak to reveal that he's basically a scrawny alien who has replaced his lower half with a small UFO outfitted with lever and dial. That's not all. He's got like several mini clones of himself. I admit it was a bit of a comic relief in the form of a villain, and especially Jay's fight. But behind all that silliness, Jarra remains dangerous enough to threaten Earth's well-being, sometimes by trying to steal gaseous layers from the atmosphere, and at other times through forging deals with bigger villains like Serleena's video. We are gonna explore everything there is to explore about this MIB villain. But before I begin, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. These may be two small clicks from you, but they help us in amazing way in bringing you these marvelous videos. And now, let's begin. Who is Jarra? He's introduced in this sequel as a brilliant criminal mind from an unknown alien species. We don't know exactly where he comes from, but we know he's tried to steal Earth's ozone layer to sell it on the black market. We also find out he spent over 5 years locked up at MIB headquarters after Agent J foiled his big plan. That's classic Men in Black logic. Bizarre criminals trying to profit off Earth's resources. Jarra definitely fits the mold of a slick trouble. He can dream up insane schemes, then whip up the technology to make them happen. He's also enough of a scoundrel to crawl back into the spotlight the moment Serleena cracks open the MIB prison. Once Serleena storms in, desperate for the light of Zarth, he frees a bunch of villains from their cell, including Jarra. She's got her own plan: find the light, corner the market on unstoppable cosmic power, and strangle Earth beneath her wrath. Jarra spots his opening and offers her a deal. He'll build her a spaceship that zooms 300 times faster than light if she promises to deliver Jay into his clutch. Jarra, it's the perfect shot at revenge. He doesn't care that Serleena's goals might blow Earth to pieces. He's in it for payback, and maybe a fresh chance to score big on the black market later. How was Jarra brought to life? Before we get into how that plays out, it's worth talking about Jarra's design and the behind-the-scenes wizard that brought him to life. He first appears wearing that bell-shaped coat, presumably standing tall and imposing with a small head. But then he tosses aside the coat, and we see the truth. He's basically an alien torso perched in a tiny flying saucer. In some ways, reminiscent of a cartoonish figure from a space opera, except with an offbeat Men in Black twist. Even weird, he reveals a handful of miniature versions of himself, the Jarras, each one controlling its own little saucer. They're like a swarm of tiny clones hidden under his coat, ready to cause chaos. Rick Baker, the legendary makeup and creature designer, originally conceived Jarra as an actor who'd ride a unicycle under a big cloak to create that illusion of floating. The final version ended up with John Alexander playing Jarra, plus a mix of digital magic from ILM to capture his disembodied head and spindly figure. The behind-the-scenes accounts say that Barry Sonnenfeld, the film's director, took that gag and expanded, telling the effects team to add multiple smaller Jarras under the coat. That reveals how the comedic ideas in Men in Black often evolve from a single concept into something even wilder. And yes, it's silly, but it's also a signature MIB gag. Nobody in the movie is stunned for too long by a cloak full of floating clones, because it's just another day at the office for them. ILM had to digitally track Alexander's head onto a CG model, complete with elaborate skin texture and subtle shading. The result is a creature who looks fairly grounded in that weird MIB world. They created a 3D fake that could pivot slightly in the animation, matching the actor's performance. They even approached Jarra's little saucer as part of his anatomy. He's not quote-unquote pilot, he's physically connected, using it like hip, so it twists and tilts wherever Jarra moves. So small details also include him pressing lever or pulling knobs in front of him, giving the impression that he's controlling some vital aspects of the saucer's movement. But the overall approach was this thing is as natural to Jarra as legs are to a human. More about Jarra. We see more of that in the big scene where Serleena confronts agents J and K at MIB. He goes toe-to-toe with K, Jarra, wreaking a vengeful happy as she tries to annihilate J using his own fancy contraption. Plus, a few Jarrettes thrown in for good measure. The way Jarra fights is rather funny and frantic. He zips around in his little saucer, and at one point, he smacks into one of his clones, causing an explosive chain reaction of blue flame. This fiasco basically ends Jarra's scheme on the spot, but Jarra's involvement doesn't end there, and other material tied to the franchise, like the Men in Black 2 Alien Escape video game. He shows up as a main antagonist, using his genius to churn out wild stuff. That detail cements the idea that he's more than a throwaway villain. He's got enough cunning to build the spaceship Serleena needs, and he's enough of a pain to hold a personal grudge against Jay. These extra glimpses of Jarra's story confirm that he tried to steal Earth's ozone, presumably for some big intergalactic profit. That plan flopped thanks to Jay's intervention, leaving Jarra to stew in a cell for over 5 years. Never forgot that slice, so once Serleena cuts him loose, he leaps at the chance to settle the score. To be honest, he's a small character, but we can't ignore Jarra's place in the comedic structure of Men in Black. The first film had a certain dryness to its humor, where everything is played straight, even if it's absolutely absurd. MIB 2 leans even more on that, and lets weird aliens appear left and right, never prompting the characters to double take or wink at the camera. Jarra's anatomy. When we talk about Jarra's anatomy, big takeaway is how reversed it is from initial expectation. First, he looks like a super tall figure with a small head. Once the coat is gone, we see a scrawny torso connected to a mechanical saucer. Then, there are his clones, and each of these show a separate personality. They are not simply his copy, but copies that have a mind of their own. Although they all work together to achieve a singular objective, they have different levels of anger, as you see. Jarra's many clones eat with its own tiny saucer, and you've got something that is unique among the series' various aliens. Not a shapeshift, a wormy side, or a tall, evil alien like Serleena. He's a skinny inventor who replaced the bottom half of his body with a fancy contraption, and apparently done the same for his clone. From a narrative standpoint, Jarra's main purpose is that he exists. To highlight the scope of MIB's Rogues Gallery, he tried to harvest the ozone layer, so we know that aliens in this one see Earth's resources as valuable commodity. He's also an example of how many criminals keep landing in MIB cell, all waiting to bust out. If Serleena hadn't arrived, Jarra would still be rotting in prison. The second he's free, he goes right back to scheme. That cyclical structure emphasizes the endless struggle between MIB-8 and cosmic criminals. Jarra might not have the chance to reclaim his glory or complete his revenge on Jay. He's gone almost as soon as he reappeared, overshadowed by Serlena's bigger, more cataclysmic play. But that cameo sums up everything we like about MIB's lesser villains. They're bizarre, creative, and entertaining, but they rarely overshadow the main showdown. Jarra's comedic spin, flying around on a little saucer, ranting about revenge, offers a memorable glimpse of the wild corners of the MIB universe. By the end of Men in Black 2, Jarra is just another foot in J and K's mission to protect Earth from alien threat. But it's a footnote that stands out. He introduced a comedic spectrum and reminded us that MIB's approach to alien design, play and outland, while still injecting a bit of danger. If he'd had more screen time, we might have seen more of his cunning scheme, deeper look into how he survived so long with half his body replaced by machine. Instead, we see just enough to appreciate his brand of chaos. That's the MIB form. Show us something crazy, then move on to the next insane reveal, leaving us with a parade of weird creatures etched into our mind. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Jarra Jr.